So thank you so much for tuning into Culture Fix. I am joined by the incredible Maja Ivarsson, who has had an incredible career both as a soloist and as part of the indie rock group The Sounds. The Sounds gave us such hits as Living in America, Something to Die For, Safe and Sound. There's so many I could mention, Maya. But Maya makes her debut on the Melodifestivalen stage with her new track Kamikaze Life on the 1st of February, so pretty soon. And
Yeah.
you joined me today to talk about it, so thanks so much. Very exciting.
Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to speak with you. I've been doing so many Swedish interviews, obviously. So this is actually something I've been looking forward to.
Nice. Your first Scottish interview.
Yeah, yeah. No, and yeah, I'm so used to doing interviews in English as well. And I think a lot of Swedes are very capable of speaking English, but I enjoy this very much. So
Great. Amazing.
yeah.
Thank you. Um, so your first time at Melodifestivalen, why was now the right time? Because obviously you have been performing for, you've got a really kind of well-established career. So why was now the time?
Well, the main reason is because I started to write with these incredible songwriters, and they have like such a track record of great songs in mellow. And we started to write for a different purpose in the beginning, but then when this song came about, it kind of fitted this format such a perfect way that it was almost impossible for me to not even, consider. So when we did talk about it, we were like, well, maybe we should at least try it. We'll send the song into the company and see what they say. And yeah, they accepted the song right away and they loved it. And I feel like it's such an how do you say, I'm really privileged to have this long career, but also to put myself in a situation where I'm not really as comfortable as I used to be. And I love that. I love to um, put myself in situations where I'm not even sure if I'm going to pull it off well. But that's good. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think it keeps things exciting, keeps things
Yeah.
fresh, and
Yeah.
actually, you know that you can always you've got your band and you can revert to that, but it's also nice to challenge yourself with something maybe out the box. Um,
Exactly.
so Kamikaze Life, you mentioned the incredible writing team like Jimmy Joker, Joy, Linnea, Deb,
Yeah.
Andrea Lindberg, really amazing songwriters that you co-wrote with.
Yeah.
How did you get in touch with them? Was it kind of planned to develop more solo material for yourself, or how did that connection develop?
Exactly like that. I was actually writing a lot of music in Swedish, and I didn't have a record label, and I was just trying to experiment with something different than I've been doing with the sounds for so many years, just to find and also to challenge myself. And I got in contact with these incredible songwriters, and obviously their way of writing music is very, how do you say? It fits this format so well. And I come from a totally different background, but together, I think the collaboration just made this even more magical because I added all the stuff that I love and they added all their professionalism. And I think together it was just like, it's too good. I mean, like we cannot give this to the people in this such a manner because it's such a big format and it's so many people watching at home. And yeah, it would be silly not to compete.
Yeah. And are you a competitive person?
Very much.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. And I mean, a lot of people say you can't really compete in music, but I mean, if you don't think that, you don't have to participate, you know? I think you can. I think it has to do with the perfect song for the perfect artist and the perfect show. And when all of these boxes um, are checked, I think that's when you have a winner. And I think that's what I'm going for.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I like it. Good. What is the vibe of Kamikaze Life? Because I know obviously you can't say too much at the moment, but we'll be able to hear the song from next week. Can you give me a little hint as to the sound?
I mean, it does sound like the sounds. That I think since I am also one of the songwriters in the sounds, I have my influences that I am very I cannot write different music for myself than the stuff that I really like. So it's an up-tempo rock song with synthesizers in it. You know, it sounds like the sounds, but it's very much more fitted for this format, definitely. So, but you will not be surprised. Like, what is this? It's not like I'm doing a dubstep or crazy techno or anything like that. No.
We'd also like to see that, though, to be fair.
All right, all right, all right. Maybe next year then.
Yeah,
I
you
do some
chuck a few
featuring.
dance numbers on the album. Yeah, I think that sounds really exciting. And in terms of the vision of actually seeing it on stage, you'll be well into rehearsals and things at the moment. So is
Yeah.
it kind of coming together the way you envisioned?
Absolutely, which was also very I was so happy when I first had the first meeting with the TV company. I had already had this vision in my head, and I knew what kind of colors and what kind of vibe and the whole. And I just sent them pictures of stuff that inspired me, and they totally understood exactly what I was going for. So it was like a no-brainer for me, no-brainer for them. And the rehearsals for me was also something that's completely new for me. I mean, like rehearsing for me is like when you're in a in your studio rehearsing with a band. But no, you're like in a dance studio and you're only miming to your own song and you're told, like you should go right or left. And it has to do a lot more with cameras. And I've done plenty of TV shows, but nothing as big as this. I mean, David Letterman show up, obviously it's a big TV show, but it's not based, it doesn't really have the same vibe. So this is completely new.
Yeah, because I guess it's the combination of like almost like a stadium gig meets a TV performance, but you're also performing to people at home and also to people in the arena. So it's quite a tough one to master, I'd imagine.
Yeah, but I think that is where I felt very privileged. Like I know how to take a crowd, like a live audience. I'm totally comfortable. Um, but I want to incorporate that kind of energy that I already have and to communicate that with the camera and for the people at home. And I think that is, I feel like, oh, it's so easy to become almost like comfortable when you've done something for so many years. And I like to put myself in a situation where I'm not nervous actually. I'm just really, really excited. So I told him at the first meeting, I was just like, teach me everything that you know, and I will bring what I know, and together we can make this magical, hopefully.
Amazing. Well, can you give me like three words to describe the performance, whether that be the song or the staging, if you got anything that kind of jumps to mind?
Yeah, I would say yeah, energy. I'm always very energetic on stage. So it's a lot of energy, but it has a how do you say, like underdog mentality, like
Yeah.
almost like a revenge vibe, and also intense in every way. My clothes and the setting and everything, it's just me on steroids, which I think fit, you know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go on stage in just like regular t-shirt and a jeans. I think this is the opportunity to actually put everything, max it up to 11.
Yeah, it feels like it's going to be like a jolt of energy in the show. I'm excited. Um,
Thing.
so when you're making music as Maya, obviously you mentioned that you are the sounds, you're one of the writers of the sound, so it's hard to strip that away. When you are kind of writing as a soloist or creating as a soloist, is there that kind of tendency to think, okay, I want to stay in a similar genre, or is there that can maybe a wee bit more freedom because you're out with the confines of the band?
Yeah, I think it's a lot more freedom, but it's also a way for me to, because you have different languages. I'm not saying Swedish or English, but the way you kind of write and the way you emphasize some words, and it's been um, such a great lesson for me to start writing with a lot of different writers, not just the guys that I've been working with for Kamikaze Life, but also other songwriters, and almost kind of like getting into their way of writing. It's teaching me a lot, and I think whatever I bring to the table, it will always sound like me because I do know I have a voice that people recognize right away. So just by adding my voice, it sounds familiar.
Mhm.
But the way that people write and different sounds that they use, and yeah, it's a lot more freedom because I can choose to do up tempo kind of rock songs, but just by working with different people, it kind of makes it a different experience anyway. So yeah, I can only say I'm really, 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 really proud of the EP that's coming out soon as well.
Nice EP as well, brilliant.
Yeah.
And have you got a kind of rough release date for the EP?
The release date?
Yeah,
Um, we haven't really set the date yet, but it will be close to the finale in Stockholm, which would be, I would say mid-March maybe or mid-February. I don't know. Very soon at least. It's
soon, soon.
almost done. It hasn't been mixed or mastered yet, but it's very close.
Sorry, I'm adding pressure on you. I'm saying it.
No, no, no.
When can we hear it?
No worries, no worries.
Um, I'd love to kind of find out a little bit more about your relationship with Eurovision because obviously Melodifestivalen is its own entity, but I
Yeah.
guess the end prize is obviously a place at Eurovision. Are you a fan? Is it something that you've kind of longed to do, or are you more casual about it?
The thing is, I think Mello is what I hear is a lot more fun than the big Eurovision. I think Eurovision is it's a very controlled and kind of stiff in a way. So of course I want to win since I'm such a competitive person. But I do know if I would win and I have to go to Switzerland, I would be super happy to do that and to represent Sweden and to actually send like a established artist this time. That would be amazing. But I also know that I have a show in LA with the Sounds at the same date. So I'm a winner either way. I'm going to
Yeah,
be playing at Rose Bowl, Pasadena, outside of
nice.
LA. So if I don't do Eurovision, I'll be on a big stage in LA instead. So this is a win-win.
Yeah, it's going to work out well regardless. Great.
Yeah.
Uh, what is your relationship like with your earlier music? Because speaking to different artists, sometimes the earlier music doesn't reflect who they are now as people. How do you feel about the Sound's earlier music? Is it still kind of songs that you relate to and you can kind of get transported back to the moment of creating these? Or are they more like looking back at a different person at a different time?
No, actually, I feel like, especially the song Living in America, I remember when we wrote that song, I knew right away that this song is gonna changed my life. I was a very poor, I mean, like we got signed when we were in high school. So I was like freshly out of high school. I had no money and I just had a lot of big dreams. But when I wrote that song together with my friends in the Sounds, we are like, this is a game changer. And sure, that did happen. It did change my life forever. I've been how do you say, a front person in a rock band for the my whole adult life. Um, so whenever we sing or play these songs nowadays, I feel a lot of gratitude, and I'm also very keen on always keeping the song in the same shape and sound as it was from the beginning. Because these songs, I don't own these songs anymore. It's the people who have all these memories to these songs. So if I'm messing these songs up by doing like a jazz version because I am tired of singing it, that's not cool. I hate that when you see other bands perform and they have like their biggest hit and they do like a weird medley thing. I'm like, no, no, I want to hear it the way I remember it. And like you had your first boyfriend or your mom passed away or something really big or eventful in your life are connected to a lot of music, I think. And if I have that power to affect people in that sense, I think it's my duty to deliver it the way they remember it.
I think that's nice because it's quite refreshing to hear that because so often it's well I like to experiment and I like to change it and I want to do a stripped down acoustic version or a cabaret version and I think it does take it away from that kind of the raw magic that people relate to and as you say their
Yeah.
personal experiences.
Yeah. I mean, acoustic versions, I mean, you're all obligated to do it sometimes. Like some TV performances, you have to do like a interview and then a quick acoustic. I mean, I hate doing it, but I still do it. So I'll be part of the show. But I agree. I think I remember I saw Lou Reed and I'm a huge fan. And yeah, the whole album he did was like it was terrible. It was like jazz versions of every song. And it was just like, I couldn't even watch it or
Yeah.
hear it. No. Enough. So I'll always remember that and doing it the opposite.
Amazing. So obviously, you were part of a film soundtrack with Scream 4, and that was kind of when I fell in love with the sounds, back
Oh
with
wow.
Something to Die For. How
Yeah.
did it feel kind of having your music in films? Was that something that was composed specifically for the film, or was it a track that they came to you and said, "Can we use?"
Yeah, they came to us and asked if they could use it. And I remember even We had songs in FIFA, the soccer game, football game, and also Guitar Hero. We had music in the movie called Music and Lyrics with Drew Barrymore and Hugh Grant, and also Scream 4. I did the title track for Snakes on a Plane. Uh, it was just like it's such a blessing to be able to do that and to have your music in a movie makes it also last for a lifetime, it seems like, or even after my lifetime, it will still be there in a different form, or yeah, or not just on the record, which is it's very flattering, I think, when they use your music.
And yeah, obviously accessing a whole different audience as well.
Yeah,
When you think how global, and obviously music can go globally, films can go so globally as well. So yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Um, so the Sound's last album was back in 2020, Things We Do for Love, which I thought really a great kind of continuation of the Sound's sounds, but obviously in 2020. Is there
Yeah.
any kind of rumblings or kind of chat about potentially following that up, or is it solo at the moment?
Right now, it's a solo thing that I'm working on, and I agree. I think that album is also one of the later ones that I'm more proud of. And I think it also kind of kept a little bit of our original sound a little bit more than the album before that one. Um, and that's what I'm trying to keep doing myself. So instead of doing it with the band, I'm doing it on my own, but it's definitely that kind of sound and that kind of vibe. Um, and it was also such a shame that it was in the middle of the pandemic. So you have such big dreams and high hopes for your new album, and it kind of falls flat. So
Yeah.
it's a bit sad. So no, this will be the follow-up album, but it will be a solo thing, which I think it's good either way. I would be proud to do one more album with the sounds as well, which we probably will. Absolutely. We will always last forever. It seems like 27 years we've been a band.
Mad. It's absolutely
Yeah.
mad. Well,
And I'm only
obviously,
30. How did that work out?
with obviously 27 years in the industry, would you do things differently? Would you tell your younger self, stand up to that person or don't take that? Would you kind of, what advice would you give to your younger self, I suppose is the question.
I think I would give myself the advice of trusting my own instincts a little bit better, especially in studios. Because sometimes in the beginning, I did write a lot of the music for the first two albums, but then later on, I think I felt like there were so many songwriters in the band, and sometimes I would just like, I better keep quiet and let the guys do it because there's a lot of different structures in band, and sometimes it changes, and some of them are more dominant and some are like more laid back. And I think I took like the how do you say, backseat for a little while and felt like I don't know if my ideas are any good anymore, since they're so, aggressive in their writing. And I think it wasn't until the last album that I picked up a lot of the songwriting again, and I felt like maybe I should have done this a couple of albums ago already because my ideas are actually quite great. So I kept that instinct or insight when I'm starting to write this solo thing, to be more confident in my songwriting, definitely. And also, I was such a terrible singer, I never dreamt about becoming a singer. I wanted to be a guitar player or something like that. So I would give myself a little bit more credit if I could go back and say, hey, you're not as bad as you think you are.
I think that's good advice. And I think to anyone listening who is in the music industry or wants to go into the music industry, just trust in your ideas, I think is
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I know obviously you will be so sick of doing interviews, so I'm just going to wrap things up with a really quick fire round and then free you to enjoy your weekend.
No,
Um,
thank
so what is your favorite movie?
Dirty Dancing.
Oh, nice. Your favorite Swedish word?
Fun.
What's that mean?
It means actually it means like devil, but you use it as a swear word as damn or shit or something like
Nice.
that. Fun, fun,
Bon.
fun. F-A, yeah, like a fan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
The last song you listened to?
I was actually in the studio writing with another songwriter. It has a working title called Week, but it's not gonna be the end uh title. But it was that was the last song I listened to. We were putting down some vocals today.
Watch this space.
Mm.
Your all-time favorite singer?
Freddie Mercury, I think.
Nice. You have the choice between a banger or a ballad. What would you choose?
Banger. I'm such a terrible singer for ballads. Like I don't have that. My tempo in myself. I mean, my body is like it's always fast, so I'm rushing it a bit too much. So a ballad is not my strong. How to say? Yeah.
Yeah, your biggest fear.
Ooh, calling authorities. I
Yeah.
have a really big fear of picking up the phone or talking to strangers that I don't know. I freak out. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm not afraid of standing in front of people talking. I'm not afraid of pretty much anything. But like authorities, oh, oof,
I get
I
that. I like to pass the phone over, like you talk.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
nothing. Who is your choice to play you in a biopic of your life?
Wow, I got this question a couple times, and in the back in the days, I'm like, I'll do it myself. That was a terrible idea. Um, well, now since we did talk about Drew Barrymore, I met her and I've been to her house. We've been partying a little bit together, and she's such an amazing actress. But yeah, she's a bit older than I am, but a younger version of Drew Barrymore, that would be great.
Yeah, she seems like she's got really cool energy.
Yeah, she does. She's amazing. She's amazing.
Um, where is your favorite place to travel?
Ooh. Home, because I'm always on the road. So my favorite place to travel would be back home again.
Nice. Um, well, actually, this follows on quite nicely. Where in Sweden is a underrated hidden gem that you would recommend to people?
Hidden gem. My birth town. It's a really small fishing village on the east coast of the southern parts of Sweden, and that's where they make the absolute vodka there.
Nice. Okay.
That's what they're
Okay.
famous for. But
Uh-huh.
it's a very old little fishing village and very touristy kind of summer resort place. Yeah, it's called Åhus. Really
Cool.
pretty.
Nice. Well, thank you very much, Maya. It's honestly been a real pleasure to talk to you, and I'm really excited for next weekend. I think it's going to be great and sounds so energetic and fun. So thanks so much for taking the time to chat.
My pleasure, and thank you.
Nice. Good luck.